least of my worries, you know? Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stochastic.com NFL Live Before Lock, little preseason edition here. 2-game slate. I'm Dave Loughran, Lafayette_D. Matt Kajeski off one more day, coming back tomorrow for an 11-gamer. But Neil Orfield held it down admirably yesterday at Player Q DFS, and going to do it again today for a 2-gamer. Are you on with Matt tomorrow?
Thank God Matt is coming back so I can move back into the hosting chair with Matt, because
11
researching
games.
for an 11-game slate, man, it's a lot of work. So good on Matt for coming back for that.
Absolutely, man. I told you before the show. That's why we're a couple minutes late. I was doing the preseason betting video for our Odd Shopper channel. That'll be out tonight. See it back there. Check it out if you're not on Odd Shopper yet. I do it for every game, for every slate. And man, I was dreading it. It took me from like 11:30 to 5 o'clock to finish that video. 11 games.
Yeah.
You're just straight. It's not stats either. Like, stats don't matter in preseason. You can't be like, this defense is good, this defense isn't. You're just looking up what coaches are going to do and trying to predict human behavior based on what they've done in the past. It's tough, man.
It's so different from regular season. Like that, you can just, as you said, like regular season, you're looking at stats, you're just trying to find gems based on like the stats. Preseason is just so like, who's going to get snaps, and you, as you said, it's just like context clues is all you can go off of.
Yeah, I'm going back to 2021 and finding quotes from Sean McDermott on how he's going to play Josh Allen in the preseason and seeing if it lines up with what he said this week and if he was honest. Like, that's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. And yesterday, did all that, did a lot of research. We did the show. Most of our plays did pretty well. Like, I feel like it overall went pretty well, except for the one play that I didn't end up playing. And I mentioned him as like somebody that you could consider playing. I forget what his Austin Brown, or I forget what his name was. But the guy who put up like 30 fantasy points. I played 37 lineups yesterday. He just broke the entire slate. I didn't make any money because this guy just went completely off. So even if you get most things right, it feels like you need to get like everything right here. So we'll do our best.
Yeah. Austin Watkins. Yeah.
That's right. Austin Watkins.
Yeah, had a game. And, I tell you what, I'd mentioned that Mariota, and you had a very solid, the analysis overall, strong day. Mentioned Mariota might play the full half because Minshew last year played the full half. Good thing Mariota sucked.
Right. Yeah.
Because he played the whole half.
He could play the full half. And it felt like, he's an NFL quarterback. He's been around for a long time. He's got some rushing chops. It was like, if he plays the full half and nobody's playing him, he came in at 12% ownership on a showdown slate, played the entire half. I actually ended up having, I think, more than the field of Mariota. Not by a lot. I wasn't jamming Mariota or anything, but man, did he let us down if you played him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all you can here's the thing about the preseason. Let's dive into this. All you can do is hope that you predict the playing time right.
Yeah, right. And then get lucky from there.
Exactly. After that, it's entirely out of your hands. At no point are you going like, yeah, this guy's really talented, because someone still has to get him the football. The offensive line still has to block for him. Shit. You just hope that you're right about them being on the field. Or if you're fading them, you hope that you're right about them not being on the field. So happy to have you guys with us. Hey, hit that thumbs up if you're just hopping in here. Atone for your sins and hit that thumbs up right here on the NFL Live Before Lock show, taking us into the weekend. We got MLB Live Before Lock tonight as well for a 12-game slate. But subscribe to the channel. Follow Neil at Player Q DFS. Follow me at Lafayette_D. And as always, would be much appreciated if you check out that preseason betting video over on Odd Shopper. I put it on Twitter as well for every game. But let's do it, man. We'll go position by position for this one. And glad that you guys are hanging out with us on a Friday night. Thank you, Vic David Figueroa, for atoning. You too, Sotex. You guys are the best. Quarterback position. All right, let's go. Clayton, I'll tell you that in a second. One second. Let me get through these quarterbacks and I'll answer that question. All right, so let's talk about quarterbacks first. Now, you've got Matt Corral, Bryce Young, Jake Luton for Carolina, Tommy DeVito, Tyrod Taylor, Daniel Jones, doubt he plays much at all. Trevor Siemian, Jake Browning, who is, the thing about that is he's now second on the depth chart ahead of Trevor Siemian. You might have thought it was but he's technically the backup now
Right.
And then for the Falcons, Logan Woodside, Desmond Ridder, and Taylor Heineke, who they know what they have in him. How are we projecting playing time for these quarterbacks? I'll tell you this, Saturday, way easier to figure out playing time. Malik Willis might play the whole game if Will Levis is out with that injury. This
Oh,
one,
wow.
not as yet, might play the whole game because Tannehill's not going to play. Way harder to break down, I think personally, quarterbacks for this game than tomorrow or this slate.
Right, because we have like the starting quarterbacks are going to play some, but we don't know does that mean they're playing one series or they playing an entire quarter? They're probably, I don't think they're playing a full half with the starters, but yeah, it is kind of a mess with the quarterbacks. We have several situations where we are expecting three quarterbacks to play. I would say, to me, probably my favorite quarterback situation is the Bengals, because I think they're probably just playing two quarterbacks in Trevor Siemian and Jake Browning. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. I think the Joe Burrow injury is looking like it's probably going to lead into the regular season, at least somewhat. So the Bengals are trying to figure out who is going to be their quarterback too. I mean, you mentioned that Jake Browning has taken over as the starting the QB2 for the Bengals, but I think it's still kind of they're fighting for that QB2 spot between Trevor Siemian and Jake Browning. Trevor Siemian starting this game, I think that he is probably the better of the two. We have Trevor Siemian projected the better of the two, playing in the first half, going to be playing with some, NFL vets at the very least, potentially even some wide receivers. Could be some vets in there for the Bengals. So I think Trevor Siemian probably in the best spot on the slate as far as playing time goes, because I think that we're expecting him to play the entire first half, and he should be, playing with starters a little bit more than Jake Browning. So I would say he's probably in the best spot, followed by Jake Browning playing most likely the entire second half for the Bengals. So I think the Bengals quarterback situation probably the best that we have. With Carolina, we're expecting Bryce Young to play just a little bit. I think Matt Corral still expected to play a ton. So Matt Corral up there as well, probably, kind of in the same boat as Trevor Siemian. He could end up playing an entire half here. And just as you said, we're kind of just trying to guess the playing time more so than anything, and then hoping for the best. So I think Matt Corral is probably going to be up there in terms of playing time as well. With the Giants, we are expecting Daniel Jones to play a little bit, most likely, but we are still expecting Tommy DeVito to play most of the game. So also in a good situation. I'd say those are the quarterback situations that I'm the most interested. Probably not as interested as in Atlanta. They just we're expecting Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke to both play some. Logan Woodside should still get a lot of playing time, but I'm not sure the talent is necessarily there. I don't think they're going to be throwing the ball. I think they're more going to be run oriented. So Atlanta kind of ranks third for me. Probably this from a situation standpoint, it's going to be those Cincinnati quarterbacks first, followed by Matt Corral for Carolina, Tommy DeVito for New York, and then I guess Logan Woodside for Atlanta.
How much do we think that Daniel Jones is going to play?
It's hard to read how much what to expect exactly from Daniel Jones. I don't think it's going to be a lot. We do have some projection for him. Maybe it'll be just one series. Maybe it'll be a full quarter. I would guess probably more likely to be just one series than a full quarter. It's certainly not an easy. It's not an easy guessing game trying to figure out who is going to be playing.
It's not, because last year in this exact same scenario, granted, like I take some of this stuff with a grain of salt, because you have somebody in Brian Dable who was a first-time head coach. He played Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor. Like, those guys basically played the entirety of the first half, and then Davis Webb played the second half, right? So I don't know. I don't think that happens in this game. I did lay 3 points on the Giants though, because I think it's possible that it happens. But I say that because if I were to have to rule some of these guys out, if you're talking about which backups do we like the most, does Tommy DeVito only get a half?
It's possible. He played 34 of 41 dropbacks in week one, preseason week one. So last week, Tommy DeVito by far played the most. Tyrod Taylor started, didn't play a lot. Tommy DeVito played the rest of the game. Maybe this week they work in Daniel Jones. Who knows? Maybe Daniel Jones comes in and plays, those 8 snaps that Tyrod Taylor played last week. But yeah, we don't know. And you're right. Like if we do see Daniel Jones playing a quarter, or I mean, if you played a half, like Daniel Jones would be an absolute smash. Like he would be by far the quarterback you want to play the most, because not a lot of people are going to play him either. But even if he plays just a quarter, like the upside is clearly there. Daniel Jones, the best quarterback that I think we're going to see on this slate. If we do see him, he would be the most talented quarterback on the slate. Could certainly score a touchdown and be the quarterback that you want. So yeah, it's a murky situation with Daniel Jones, because the playing time is very much up. He also might not play at all. Like that's the range for Daniel Jones. There's a very small chance, I think, that he plays a full half. I think it's more likely that he plays not at all than an entire half, but both are, I think, within his range of outcomes here. I think we're projecting him, it looks like, for probably about a quarter, maybe a little bit less than a quarter. We haven't projected for 2.5. I guess that'd be less than a quarter, maybe half of a quarter, 2.5 fantasy points, or a little bit more than that, maybe. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to project. I'm not expecting Daniel Jones to play a ton, but yeah, if he does, he'll be a smash. And even if he only plays 1 or 2 series, if he ends up scoring a touchdown, maybe getting a little bit on the ground while he's out there, he's in play.
I'll take a stand here. I think I think Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor combined to play a decent amount at least.
No. Let me ask you this. I'm going to set an over under for you. Over under 1.25 for those two combined.
Combined?
Yep.
It's difficult, and I'm not trying to cop out here, but it's difficult because if Daniel Jones comes out and has 2 really pretty drives, he's out. And then if Tyrod Taylor comes in and drives him downfield and scores, he's out. Sometimes the coaches just want to see something. Yeah. Andy Reid does that all the time in the preseason. I'm going to say over. I'm going to say over. Maybe not a lot over, but like down. Yeah, I think they could play a decent amount, and then neither of them play in week 3.
You know what I just heard? I heard you say, Neil, you just set an excellent line right there.
It was it's a perfect line. Yeah. Perfect line. Yeah, it is. Because a lot of times what you can see is like Daniel Jones play 2 drives, Tyrod Hill play 2 drives, and then you're right around that 1.5 quarters.
Yeah, exactly.
So the only reason I bring that up, and curious to know what you guys think in chat on the playing time for some of these quarterbacks, because I love breaking this stuff down as far as quarterbacks go. Who do you think is the quarterback that's most likely to play the most of any quarterback in this 2-game slate?
Man, that's tough. So I think both of the Bengals guys play a half. It's between the Bengals guys and Tommy DeVito, probably. Yeah, I would say I'd probably make the bet on those Bengals guys. But let me think about Tommy DeVito a little bit more. Take a look at what has been said about Tommy DeVito. I think I'm leaning towards Trevor Siemian being the guy who's going to play the most. I don't feel extremely strongly about it. Certainly could be Tommy DeVito after he played so much last week. It really comes down to how much Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor play. So
I think you're right, by the way. I think Browning and Siemian could split this game, and then Reed Sinnett plays all of week 3.
Yeah.
I think that's what could happen.
Yep. That seems like the likeliest scenario. So probably I feel the most confident in the Bengals guys playing a full half. It's just a matter of like how much is Logan Woodside. Like Logan Woodside could end up playing 3 quarters. Like I don't think either of Siemian or Browning is likely to play 3 quarters. Maybe that's just how I'm reading the tea leaves. Like it seems like they're very likely to play exactly a half each. And I'm trying to think like, are any of these guys likely to play more than a half? Like we have Matt Corral and Tommy DeVito and Logan Woodside projected, all 3 of them projected better than both of the Cincinnati quarterbacks. But I don't know that the playing time is as concrete.
Me neither. Matt Corral probably is your best bet here. I think he's probably your best bet.
Matt Corral. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're expecting to see potentially some Bryce Young here.
I don't think it'll be all that much.
Yeah, he played a little bit last week. It's probably going to be similar to what we saw last week. In which case, yeah, you're probably right. It's probably going to be Matt Corral coming in playing a lot here. We do have Jake Luton projected to play a bit as well. So who knows how much Jake Luton is going to play. So a couple other quarterbacks coming in, maybe eat it into Matt Corral, but wouldn't be shocking to see him play more than a half.
Yeah, I could see Luton play a little bit. I could also see that be another situation where he just gets all the work in week 3 too.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And by the way, guys, if you're looking to just use our projections, Matt Kajeski's wonderful projections, all of our data for the NFL preseason, including depth charts, including all of his write-ups. Link is in the description. If you want to take advantage of that, I would highly advise you do so, especially if you did it today. You got a Friday slate, Saturday, you got Sunday, you got a Monday game, you got showdown slates on Saturday, you've got everything. And then next week, you've got a fully spread out slate as well. So well worth it. There's still an edge in NFL DFS. People can tell you otherwise, but the screenshots I've seen coming in to the Stochastic Hall of Fame account on X, formerly known as Twitter.
We calling it X now? All right.
I'm making the pivot. I'm going to be the first to make the pivot.
I'm not ready yet. Maybe I'll get there. You know,
I'm going to blaze the trail, Neil.
All right. Cool.
The screenshots coming in on the X. You can see it. I mean, we've had some great finishes already. So if you want, in my opinion, the best projections out there, the best data for the preseason, all the work being put in for you, link in the description and in the chat, all the preseason content, all the data is right there for the taking. You can do it for the week or you can do the whole package, however you prefer. Check that out. Kajeski is the preseason pioneer for a reason. He's the man when it comes to putting these projections together. It's like his life's purpose. He said he couldn't sleep the night before the Hall of Fame game because preseason football. Who else do you want making your projections, Neil?
That's the guy that I want making my projections. I'm very reliant on his projections. Even as we do the show, I'm constantly looking over at his projections to figure out, like, okay, who do we have projected better? Because you know, I've read a bit on what to expect from the slate, but ultimately Matt's projections are going to be the thing that I find the most useful here.
All right. Well, it's time for you to put some work in when we talk about running backs now, because there's a decent amount of them. Carlos Washington Jr., Igwebuike is another one of those guys for Atlanta. We have 2 Atlanta guys at the top and then 2 Cincinnati guys closely following them today. The reason for that is all about opportunity. How many guys do you think are going to get significant opportunity? And it looks like these backs for the Falcons and the Bengals should have, I don't want to say a stranglehold on opportunities, but like Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier probably shouldn't play that much in this game. And then on Cincinnati, you're not getting any Joe Mixon. So that makes it interesting for Chase Brown and Chris Evans, who both got a lot of work last game in week 1.
Yeah, it's interesting because we know that Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier are both going to play some today, which is, you know, it'll be fun to see.
I just don't think it's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a lot either. Like, why do they want to risk these guys? These guys are going to be a big part of the regular season, so they're probably not going to play a ton. And I think you're right. Really, I feel like, I mean, clearly Carlos Washington and Godwin Igwebuike are 2 of the better plays on the entire slate. They are our 2 top projected plays on the entire slate. So I like to look around the industry and see how we project them relative to others. And when there is a bigger difference between what we have and what other people have, that's when I like to target those players. And we did it yesterday with Trey Sermon. Like, we had Trey Sermon projected the best of any projections I looked at in the industry. And then he went off and it was awesome for us. We have the same thing today with Godwin Igwebuike. He had a big game last time out. So I'm not totally confident that the ownership isn't going to be there, even though we have him projected a lot better than other places do. So it's possible that people look at the game log and see how well Igwebuike did last time and they want to play him. But I'm thinking that people are going to be more, I think in general, preseason DFS, NFL DFS, people are pretty projections oriented. Like, I don't think we get too many people who are just watching games and not consuming any content or anything. So I would guess that we do get Washington getting higher ownership than Igwebuike, even though it was Igwebuike who got there last time. It's tough because Washington did have more opportunities last time out in week 1. So it's possible he could get more again, but we have Igwebuike right there with him. And due to what I expect to be lower ownership, I actually prefer Igwebuike of the 2. And really, it's just comes down to ownership for me. Like, I think the opportunity, like, they're both going to have their opportunities. I think Atlanta's going to run a lot. So I think those are my 2 favorite running backs on the board. But I think Igwebuike for me is going to be number 1 just by a little bit over Carlos Washington. And then, yeah, we also have the Cincinnati back. So we have the Atlanta guys are our top 2 projections on the entire board. Then it is those 2 Cincinnati backs. Chase Brown clearly trying to earn that running back 2 role, and he should get opportunities here. As I said earlier, I think Cincinnati's going to be passing a lot, so that could hurt Brown. But if he gets a couple of receptions, that's also huge in a low scoring slate, in a PPR site. Those receptions really matter. So I do like Chase Brown quite a bit. I think he's going to be out there a lot. Hopefully he gets some run. Hopefully he catches a couple passes, and I think that he could easily be one of our top backs here. And then I should say, like, we're wanting to play 3 running backs in all of our lineups. Like, I don't think we're ever playing a wide receiver in the flex. Based on conversations with Matt and just looking at projections, I think we just want to lock in 3 running backs, and I think Chase Brown is going to be in a lot of my lineups. Chris Evans, the other running back there for Cincinnati, also looks really good. I think I'm going to be playing all 4 of these primary backs from Atlanta, Cincinnati.
The only players to get any carries in that week 1 game for the Bengals were Brown and Evans. That's interesting.
So we do have projections for Jacob Sailors and Kelvin Taylor as well today, but I don't think that we're expecting them to get a ton of run. Like, I think that it is still a competition there for the running back 2 spot. Chase Brown, Chris Evans, I think they're still going to be primarily the running backs that are out there for Cincinnati. So
yeah, and you have to project those guys for something. It's just the name of the game.
Yeah, right.
Sailors and Calvin Tyler we have for what, like 1.5 or something fantasy points. So yeah. I mean, Brown and Evans, it's definitely a spot that at running back, all you care about is, are they going to touch the football? Like, that's it. And by the way, yesterday for Philly, it did happen. I think 5 running backs touched the ball, like 4 or 5 running backs.
Did they really?
It was a lot. I mean, Scott got 1 or 2, right? Gainwell got 1 or 2.
Yep, that's right.
Penny got 1 or 2. Sermon.
Yeah, they mix it up.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, this is one where maybe those guys do, but if it's still Brown and Evans getting the majority of work, that's what you want. How would you rank running backs then across from top to bottom if you were to give your top guys? I mean, I think it should, the way that we have projections right now, I think is the way it should be based on opportunity alone.
Yep, I think I am with you. Top 5 for me would be so you like, so what you would say is Carlos Washington, Igwebuike, Brown, Evans, and then Spencer Brown is the running back 5. I would only flip the top 2. So I would go Igwebuike just due to what I think will be lower ownership, but I don't think it's guaranteed. So I think those 2 are kind of a toss up between Washington and Igwebuike. But I would go Igwebuike, Washington, Chase Brown, Chris Evans, and then I do kind of like both Spencer Brown and Raheem Blackshear. I like Raheem Blackshear as a pass catching back. I think that really raises both his floor and his ceiling, that he is primarily a pass catching back, but he also has had some like short yardage. Like, he could be a goal line back as well. So I do think that I'd kind of say Spencer Brown, we have projected better. I would also, I do have interest in Raheem Blackshear as well. I'll throw him in there. For
sure. The New York Giants side is interesting to me too, though.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked much about that. And I don't know how, even if the starters play, I doubt you're getting, it's not like Saquon Barkley is going to be a guy that you're playing, that it's just, you don't want to do that. As good as he is, obviously, just not going to be enough work. But snap counts last week were kind of spread around. Eric Gray's interesting to me, though. I think Eric Gray is one of those guys that we should be talking about at least. Deshaun Corbin being another one of those guys. I doubt James Robinson and Breida get all that much work. If I'm going to the Giants, I think it's Gray and it's Corbin, just based on positional battles there. You already know what you have in Breida. You already know what you have in James Robinson. Those guys have been around long enough.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I think Eric Gray is the most interesting here, led the backfield in both snaps and routes last week. He's a rookie. They're trying to figure out what they have in him. So he is our top projection of these Giants running backs. We have Robinson projected fairly well too. We actually have him with a projection over 5. So he's our 8th best projection, but I'm with you. I'm more confident in Spencer Brown, in Eric Gray and Jashaun Corbin. Corbin 33-yard run last week. So, has a little bit of explosiveness at least. I would say Eric Gray, the one I'm most interested, but we actually have Corbin projected just slightly worse than Eric Gray. And then James Robinson, if you want to take a flyer on him, I guess he's new to the Giants, so there is that, but he's an NFL vet at this point. They kind of know what they have in him.
Ready to talk some wide receivers here?
Yeah.
All right.
Kinda.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Underdog. They've got the free square for tomorrow. Free square for tomorrow on Anthony Richardson.
Oh, nice.
Over half a total yard. Over half a total yard tomorrow. By the way, if you're legitimately betting that game, you can get the Colts at -4, or you can get the Bears at +5.5, depending on where you look. Go to Odd Shopper for that. I like Colts -4 here. And if he doesn't play, like if Richardson doesn't play, this just voids anyway, but I think he's going to get on the field ahead of Gardner Minshew. Over half a total yard, not passing yard, total yard, Neil. So that's huge. Josh broke it. What's that?
Yeah, it's a free square, as you said.
Yeah, if he gets on the field, it's a free square.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Josh broke down the numbers today. He was going over like the probabilities when you get a free square like this, and how it takes like a 5-play card from 13-1 all the way down to 8-1. Or, it takes look what it does to a 2-leg play card. If you wanted, let's say you expect it to be a 60% hit rate on your other one, you're turning that into a 60% win rate, but for a 2-leg card, a 2-player card.
Yeah.
Underdogs, it's the shit. I love it. I know you do. You play a ton of best ball over there. $15 million prize pool for best ball tournaments. They have the daily drafts for MLB, NFL, NBA. Yep. Huge best ball contest and their pick'em format. But you guys are sitting here watching preseason DFS. Okay. We're a select few. We're a select breed. We're a rare breed when it comes to this type of stuff. You know what else is rare? These pick'em sites actually having props for preseason. Underdog has them. They got that. They got everything else, and they got the free square on Anthony Richardson. You use the link in the description or the one that Jordan just threw into the chat. It is a 100% first match deposit bonus up to $100. If you put 100 in, you just doubled your bankroll. You get 200. If you put 20 in, now you got 40. Shit, you only put 10 in. Now you've got 20, and you have a free square to start yourself off. Build that bankroll up for football season and use what we're saying here for some preseason picks as well. Link in the description and in the chat. All right. Let's talk about receivers. I'm going to toss this over to you. I hate talking receivers, not because I dislike it, truly, but because the quarterbacks still have to get them the ball, Neil.
It's brutal, man. I hate talking wide receivers on preseason. It's just all these teams carry 8 to 9 receivers. Like I think today, every team has 8 or 9 active receivers that we're expecting to play some. It's tough. Like, and all the projections are like so close. It's hard to like even say like, oh, this guy projects a lot better, so he's going to be a lot better. It is a tough position. We do our best with it though. So I think my favorites are, so I talked about how I think the Bengals are going to be throwing the ball a lot. I think that our top projectable receivers, the ones that I am the most interested in, do come mostly from the Bengals in Charlie Jones, Andre Yoshivas, and Kwame Lassiter II. Those are the 3 receivers that I think I have the most interest in, because I'm going to be playing some Bengals quarterbacks. I think I'm going to be stacking a little bit with these receivers, and I'm still debating whether I'm going to force a stack. I'm actually considering forcing stacks today. We don't have a ton that we're going to get from the quarterbacks on the ground game today. And I was thinking about it yesterday, like even like there is still positive correlation with stacking, even if it is hard to project. And even if like, we don't know which quarterback is necessarily going to be playing with which receivers, we still have the same positive correlation that we have on regular slates. So I'm a little bit torn about whether to stack. I think I am actually going to force in one receiver with my quarterbacks today. You don't necessarily need to. This is still preseason. It's all pretty random, but I think that I am going to today. So I'm playing those Bengals quarterbacks. I'm going to be playing some of these Bengals receivers as well. And as I said, Charlie Jones, Andre Yoshivas, and Kwame Lassiter, I think, are our top guys here. We have projections for Shedrick Jackson, Malachi Carter. Those are guys you can consider playing as well. I don't know how much I'm expecting. We have a projection for Trenton Irwin. I don't know exactly how much to expect there. We have a projection for, and I love this name, Mac Hippenhammer. We have a
Yeah,
projection
I
there.
saw that. I have no idea who that is.
It's
But
a great name.
yeah, and
It's a great name.
my boy Pimpleton is on this one too.
Oh man, just all these all these great names. But Pimpleton isn't like a cool name. Like Mac Hippenhammer, like that is just that's a cool name. Like you're gonna do things with a name like that. So, but we're not projecting him for much.
Like
Don't
get
think he's
cut
gonna get. Yeah, exactly right. No, he's gonna do things on the practice field for sure. He's gonna
for
be
sure.
a practice squad player. Absolutely
Mac
crushing for the
Hippenhammer.
Bengals.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, it's
it's a good
phenomenal.
name.
But
Yeah,
but would you want that name?
I would. I think it's a cool
Really?
name. I think like you're not gonna go be a scientist. You're gonna be an athlete. Like you just decide at like age 5, like, okay, I'm meant to be a football player.
Do you think that's the same thing for people named Brock? My by the way, not a bad name at all, but I feel like if you have the name Brock, you have to be jacked. Like
You
if you
should
name
be.
your kid Brock, you have to start getting him into a weightlifting regimen around 8.
Yeah, anybody if I like am gonna go meet a guy named Brock, like somebody that I meet on Twitter or something, it's like, hey, let's grab a beer, but I don't know what they look like. I'm expecting him to be jacked. Like if he comes in and he's just like a skinny nerd, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Yep.
shocked.
It's
So
true.
yeah, you're right. You got to be jacked with a name like Brock.
Got to be jacked. Yeah, for sure. But what teams have what if we were to narrow this down for the audience, make it a little bit easier for them? What teams have the best setup for certain receivers to play the most snaps, in the sense of like certain teams are going to play a ton of guys at the position. Maybe some don't play as many. Are there any teams where you go, you know what? I think it's going to be slightly more concentrated and I want to focus here.
Yeah, so I mean, Atlanta seems to have the most available wide receivers. So they would be the one team that's kind of an outlier in terms of like they just have too many that I don't think I'm going to have a ton of interest in playing them. I think I have the most interest in playing. I guess all of the other three I think have 8 to 9 available bodies. Let's see, the Giants have 9, the Bengals have 9. The Panthers have 9. So all three of the other teams have 9. Atlanta looks like we have like 11 wide receivers projected for some volume. So I guess Atlanta is the one with the too many bodies. It's hard for me to really want to play any of these Atlanta receivers. I think they're going to get significant snaps. As I said, I think it's Charlie Jones, Yeshivas, and Lassiter, or like even if they get similar snaps to the other teams, I think that they are going to, because I think the Bengals are going to be throwing the ball more, they should have more opportunities for targets among them. So to me, the best situation is those Bengals guys, those three in particular, probably followed by Carolina. I have some interest in Shi Smith, Javon Wims at the top. I don't know what to like with these other receivers behind them. Like, I don't really think Adam Thielen's going to play a ton. I wouldn't expect Visca to play a ton.
No
we
way.
have these guys with some projections. Do you think Jonathan Mingo gets in? Like he's the rookie that they should be, test him out a little bit. Maybe he gets some run.
Yeah, second round rookie too.
Right. So maybe as a second round rookie, they don't need it. Like they're going to be giving him a shot during the regular season anyway.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he ran with the starters in week 1. He didn't do anything like noteworthy, but he ran with the starters in week 1. So, my guess would be no.
Yeah, that would be my guess. Like I think that he is going to be a starter in the regular season. So it's really hard to project anybody else for much outside of Shi Smith and Javon Wims for Carolina. But I think they're in a nice situation. And then New York, Bryce Ford Wheaton, I think he ran like 71% of snaps last week. I'm pretty interested when I see somebody who is out there a lot and doesn't do anything. When he's on a short slate the following week, I'm always thinking that's a guy who had opportunities. He didn't do anything with them last week. That doesn't mean he can't do it this week. So I do have some interest in Bryce Ford Wheaton for the Giants. We do have your guy Pimpleton as our second best projected
Khalil
Giant.
Pimpleton, baby.
So I guess we're expecting Khalil Pimpleton to get out there. He's kind of interested. Jalen Hyatt, I like as just like a guy who it only takes one play. Like I don't know that we can project him for a ton of playing time necessarily, but he's a guy who can break a slate on one play. So he would be my third Giant, but he's to answer your question, like I don't know that he gets the same kind of opportunity as these other guys, but I do still like him as a play for the Giants just because I think he could break it with just one play.
So we got to talk about tight ends. By the way, 8 likes till we get to 50. So we'll get there. Appreciate you guys in advance. It's a preseason show. We'll take 50. Like, I'm not greedy. But
You see what Corey says? I did see that on the X,
yeah,
as you call it.
there you go. Yeah,
I
I
was like,
saw that too.
what is going on here?
I saw
Yeah.
that too. See some wild stuff trending on the X recently.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. But tight ends, you see some of them on the X too. If you click show.
That is actually, I actually searched for, was it Tanner Hudson just before the show? I was like seeing, do we have any news on Tanner Hudson? And all I saw was a bunch of tight ends.
Is Tanner
It was
Hudson
just
a
like,
porn
my
star or
God.
something?
No, it was somebody who I think it was somebody who, it was probably a lot of people searching for it. So somebody took over that name to promote their stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
exactly.
for me, it was always what was her name? Rosie would show up in all my tweets.
Oh yeah, in your For You. Yeah, I get that too.
Yeah. And let's be honest, I'm hitting show every time.
Right. You can't help it. What are you gonna not click show?
But now it's Luna that's showing up on mine. And I'm not as big a fan of Luna as I was of Rosie.
I don't think that I've gotten Luna. Now I'm getting this fucking UFC guy who's just like, who's constantly posting this other guy he's gonna be fighting's girlfriend. Have you seen this guy? Do you know who I'm talking about? I saw somebody else posted it as like, this guy has taken over my. I'm going to the X right now to just see if he shows up in my For You, and he's not right now, of course. I want to say his name is like Devin or something. Dylan Dennis. Yes, that guy has taken over my For You page, and this isn't something that I ever like sought him out, but he's just like all over my For You now, posting his opponent's girlfriend with a bunch of other men.
Was that the guy?
He's fighting Logan Paul. That's right. So Logan Paul's fiance, he's posting a bunch of pictures of Logan Paul's fiance with her ex-boyfriends, or just like random dudes. Some of them, I'm pretty sure it was just like she met them once.
Any way to get clout these days, huh?
Exactly right. And it's working for him.
Tight end. And that was just a way for me to divert the conversation so we didn't have to talk about this tight end position.
Thank you for that.
We have nobody projected north of 2.5 points. Devin Asiasi, we have it at 2.52. Tommy Tremble at 2.41. Lawrence Cager right around 2. Parker Hesse, Hayden Hurst, Nick Bowers. Like, all of these guys, you just need a rogue touchdown from them.
Or you might not even, likely you're not going to need a ton from your tight end today. It's possible that none of these guys score a fantasy point.
Right. You're right. Ugly. You might not need that. But if you get the rogue touchdown,
if you get it, you need it.
Golden. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
If it happens, you'll need it. Yeah, it is rough with tight ends today. We're throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it sticks. We have Devin Asiasi projected the best. He should have some opportunities. Lawrence Cager, talented, could catch a few balls. He's a talented pass catcher. Played 31% of the snaps last week. I think that he is somebody that I have some interest in. Somebody in chat mentioned that if we do get Danny Dimes for a bit, if the Giant starters play for a bit, then yeah, Darren Waller would become an absolute smash. I don't think Darren Waller is going to play a ton. We haven't projected for under 1 fantasy point, which honestly not that far off the leaders, but we're not expecting Darren Waller to play a ton, but there is a possibility that he plays quarter, and if he does, yeah, he would look really good. So I will acknowledge that, but I think we're expecting Lawrence Cager to play a bit more than Darren Waller, and I think Lawrence Cager has enough talent that he's dangerous out there as well. So really hard to feel good about any of these tight ends, but our top projected, and the 3 that I'm most likely to go to, I think, would be Asiasi, Tommy Tremble, and Lawrence Cager.
All right, so defense too. We got to talk defense a little bit here. The Panthers, Giants, Bengals, and Falcons are all, you could make an argument for anybody. I would personally put Cincinnati towards the bottom. Also, just a dreadful week last time out. We have the Bengals. We have everybody just at the same. I think I like the Giants here, defense, because Wink Martindale is just one of those guys where if they're going to play their starters for a bit, and I think they will, you're going to see some exotic stuff. The Wink Martindale, when it comes to blitzing, this guy, master.
Yep.
And then you've got a rookie in Bryce Young. You've got a lot of other, inexperience out there. I actually like the turnover upside for the Giants. I'm just, it's a preseason slate. I'm trying to find any spot that we can to be a little bit different. I think if I had to pick anything, I would go Giants, Falcons, Panthers, Bengals. That's how I would rank them. Giants, Falcons, Panthers, Bengals.
I was going to go Falcons Giants as my top two. So we have the same top two there.
I have
Falcons
no
is
problem with
interesting
that.
because we expect the Bengals to be throwing the ball a lot more, easy to get turnovers if against a team that is throwing the ball a lot, especially when that team's quarterbacks are Trevor Siemian and Jake Browning, like a defense going. And we're expecting the Falcons starters to play at least a significant amount of the game. So starting defense going up against Trevor Siemian and Jake Browning, who we're expecting to throw the ball. I have a lot of interest in the Falcons defense. But yeah, we have the same top two. We both like the Falcons and the Giants. Bengals, it's tough because I expect Atlanta to be running the ball a ton, so it makes me a little bit less interested in the Bengals. So I would probably go Atlanta, New York, Carolina, Cincinnati for the defenses.
Hey, last question before we wrap this one up. And as you guys know, MLB live before lock coming up at 6:00. If you were building a lineup, who is the first player in at every position?
Should we just build a lineup?
Let's do it.
I mean, are you ready to do that? Because I mean,
I
can answer
fine, fine with me.
Yeah, I would like to.
Let's build a lineup.
All right. So I would like to play Trevor Siemian at quarterback. How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with Trevor Siemian. Yeah, no problems there.
Is there a running back that you like?
I think I'm going to start it actually with Chase Brown.
I like it because you're giving me my choice of the Atlanta guys. All right, so let's go Chase Brown. As I said, I think I like Godwin Igwebuike a little bit better just because I think he's going to get lower ownership, even though we have Carlos Washington projected better. So I'd say we go Chase Brown and Godwin Igwebuike as our running backs.
Let's do it. At wide receiver, I'm going to go with Mac Hippenhammer. No. Got to play Hippenhammer and Pimpleton in the same lineup.
Yeah, right.
Give me. Yeah, Browning and Siemian aren't great, but I think, like you said, expect them to throw a lot. We already have Trevor Siemian in there. I'm going to go Charlie Jones here.
Love it. All right. I am going to go to Bryce Ford Wheaton just because I think he did so little with all of his playing time last week. Nobody's going to play him. I think he's a nice contrarian option. I think we've been somewhat chalky already, so I like going with Bryce Ford Wheaton too.
All right.
So we need one more receiver. Do you want to go we need a receiver, a tight end, a flex, and a defense.
I'm gonna go Shi Smith here. He's our highest projected receiver, not by a ton, but he's our highest projected receiver. I'm gonna go Shi Smith in this one. Don't anticipate the starters playing a lot.
Am I allowed to go to the flex and force you to make the choice of your tight end?
At tight end, I will very simply close my eyes and play any of the guys at the top of our projections. And I think that's the way you should do it. You should just, if you're playing a bunch of lineups, you just put crank randomness to the top and get as many as you can.
Okay.
So go for it.
Okay. So then, just play one of those tight ends at the top. So then I think that you need to play a running back in the flex. To me, I like the idea of taking a shot on Raheem Blackshear in the flex. And then, if you want to play one of our tight ends, I guess we would go with the top of the board there. Just go with Devin Asiasi.
All right, fair. And I'm going to throw Giants defense in there.
Nice. I think that's a great lineup.
I like it. I feel good. Follow Neil at PlayerQ DFS. Me at Laffy_D. I'll be away next week, but I'll be back gearing up for football coming after that. Jordan Klein will be away next week as well. Enjoy your vacation, brother. Where are you going? Oh, it's a staycation? Gotcha. Yeah, follow me at Laffy_D. Remember, huge free square on Underdog for Anthony Richardson, plus a first match deposit bonus, 100% up to $100. Link in the description. And all of our preseason data. You want to take advantage of that, win some money. There's still an edge out there. That's in the description as well. Appreciate you guys hanging out as always, and we'll catch you back here for the next one. Peace.